Today we are going to be making oatmeal cookies. So our first thing that we're going to do is we have put in our brown sugar, our shortening, and our white sugar, 85 grams of each, and I'm going to cream them together. So if we remember, when we cream something together, we need to use our rubber spatula, and the whole point is to make sure that we are light and fluffy, and that also all of our sugar and our shortening is combined. Shortening is our fat for this recipe, so I'm going to use my favorite word here when we're talking about the rubber spatula, and it's to smear your brown sugar, your butter, and your shortening together. So as you guys can see, it's starting to come together, but if you see, I'm spreading that like it's butter, and I'm going to keep going at that until I get all of my brown sugar and my white sugar mixed together. All right, so we're back. I've creamed together my butter and sugar, and as you can see, I can't tell the difference between brown sugar, white sugar, and shortening at this point. So now I'm going to weigh 75 grams of an egg. So I'm gonna go ahead, put my custard cup on here, zeroed out, so I make sure it says 0. I'm gonna crack my egg, pour in here, and look at that, it's 57 on the dot. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice little whisk in here as best I can. And then I'm going to add that to my mixture. Put this off to the side, give this a nice mix in. After I do that, I'm going to weigh my orange juice as well. So orange juice gives a nice little bit of flavor. It's a little bit of citrus to help activate our baking sodas. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and zero out again. Giving me a little bit of trouble, there we go. And I'm going for 15 grams. So I'm gonna slow, and it looks like I already have a little too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour some out, and then once I hit 15, I'm gonna add it in. All right, so I'm back. I went over with my orange juice and I did 25 grams instead of 15. So if you saw, I measured my orange juice in a different bowl. The whole reason is now I'm able to pour some of that orange juice back out. So if you're ever not sure or uncomfortable, make sure you measure in a different bowl. But now I've added my orange juice and my eggs. So you can see I have a pretty watery mixture. Now, with oatmeal cookies, there's a lot of spices that tend to go into them. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start off. You're gonna see a lot of things here. So I'm gonna start, this is my baking soda and my baking powder. Both are my leavening agents, which help my cookie rise. I'm gonna use a little bit of salt for flavor. And then I'm going to add in all my spices, which we are using cinnamon, allspice, and nutmeg. So you might have heard of some of these before, but they're all warming spices. So think this is very, if you've ever had a spiced cake or if you've ever had gingerbread cookies, anything like that, kind of giving that same vibe. If there's one that you don't typically love, since it is a spice, you can take it out, or if you're allergic to one of them. So I'm going ahead and I'm adding in my flour and I'm adding in my oats. Now, if you remember, the whole reason flour is my structural agent in baking goods, but because I'm using a smaller amount of flour, my oats are also going to be held up for that structure. If you don't like oats, you're out of luck for this recipe, because we have to use those oats to help get the consistency of cookie that we want. If you don't have them, you're just going to help melt apart cookies. So at this point, once I mix everything together, I should have this batter where I can see all my oats and my flour is all gone. So once I'm here, you guys are gonna have the options. You can turn these into oatmeal raisin cookies. There might be craisins. You could also use 3 ounces of chocolate chips. Today we have some toffee and we have some chocolate chips, or not toffee, butterscotch, excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and mix those all in. Feel free to try a combo of your ingredients, whatever you'd like. Now, once I have my chocolate chips mixed in, you can see I only had to go around a couple times. I have my pan prepped with my parchment paper. I'm going to use my purple portion scoop, and I'm going to press those down. These are cookies that spread. They do not grow up, they grow out. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm spacing my cookies pretty far apart. And then how do I know when they're done? They're going to be golden brown around the edges, and the center should look baked through, but they shouldn't be like dark brown. And then once we have them done, we'll come back and show you what they look like. All right, so I just pulled my oatmeal raisin cookies out of the oven. If you can see, the edges are golden brown, but the middle still look a little doughy. So our big thing here is we are not touching these for like 10 to 15 minutes. We're gonna let them set. So my biggest tip is I like to take my piece of parchment paper, grab my pan, and pull them off. Now they're cooling on the side, and I can put my pan away, put a new piece of parchment paper on it for the next class.